I have no question that Genevieve Vaughan sent more people, sent more women to that conference than the United States did, the United States government. I have no question in my mind. She sent people from all over.
And it was a kind of process that allowed everybody to come. And that was not the top-down stuff. And one of the reasons there wasn't top-down stuff was because me, who was at the top, was not taking that top position.
You need all of your self-cups. You got to lay it down. You got to lay it down. You got to lay it down. You got to lay it down, lay it down.
And I just can't tell you how fertile that meeting was and how much real sisterhood you felt.
It had a synergistic effect. In other words, it wasn't just exposing people from the other world, or however we're going to put it, but it was also exposing us, who were people from the so-called developed world, into what, in many ways, we had created since World War II.
We need women in the Presidium, in the Congress, and in the Senate of the United States, and in the places where peace is discussed. Women should be involved every single bit as men in the questions of defense strategies, in the question of military decisions, if we want to be able to save this world from both sides that are conducting a military arms race.
And then in the peace tent itself, we had women from different countries, especially countries that were at war with each other or in conflict, women talking to each other from these different countries, where men were not talking to each other at all. The women were, and sometimes they disagreed quite strongly, but they still talked.
We had Palestinians and Israelis. We had a discussion on that. We had the discussion between the U.S. and the Soviets and other groups. These are the ones I particularly remember because they were very tense.
So when the tensions got up too high, we could interrupt and do a song or something.
I think if we had any reservations before, that after that experience was a profound belief, not in arms control, but in disarmament. What we forget from 85 to 91 was that in 85, peace was a dirty word. If you use the term peace, it was immediately thought in many, many circles that you were a Soviet sympathizer or whatever. And we ran into a lot of that in Nairobi. Talk that maybe we were even financed by the KGB and a lot of ridiculous stuff. But again, Jen had the vision of reapproaching the Soviets even before Gorbachev enunciated it.
The nuclear war is the danger for the whole world. We want to declare this tent as a nuclear-free zone.
There's an official conference of these UN conferences and then an unofficial conference. We were at the unofficial one. The official conference is very bureaucratic and has a lot of men in it, and in both cases. And they do come up with rules that have to be ratified by the different governments and so forth. And so they do have some effect on the policies and laws of the countries, at least as a sort of touchstone. But they may not really have nearly as much effect as they wish they did. And I think the unofficial conferences where women share their point of view, their values, and their perspectives are much more important than the official conferences. And I really think if they had one of those unofficial conferences every year, we would have a much better society in 10 years' time. We would do the job, maybe 15, but women internationally would make the difference. We would make it happen.
I want to present you with a copy of my book on the global women's movement. And it's just been published. I'm not putting in a plug for it because I said to somebody, this book is not for reading, because I'm still kind of nervous about it. But the reason I want to give it to Genevieve at this particular point in time is because Genevieve was very instrumental in nurturing that movement through her gifting. As somebody from the South, I don't know whether North American women realize how very important she's been in building that international and global women's movement. I just wanted you to know, Jen, that all those projects, we've heard about Wings, we've heard about Fire, we've heard about the Peace Tent, but we haven't heard about the hundreds and hundreds of small projects and small visions that you have really supported. And that book, in a sense, is about a movement that you had a very large hand in creating.
Over the years, I gave donations to lots of groups for social change. And I also started my own projects. We are walking in a circle to create the promised land, to create. Each of those projects involved lots of people for many years. It's hard to communicate now, but each one was a big deal. Right now, I am at Stonehaven Ranch, which is a retreat center for women and peace and justice groups. And it has been going on since 1984. We have been offering free or low-cost, wonderful accommodations to women over the years, basically every weekend.
And she had a pretty well-formed concept of what this place should be. In the first place, she wanted it as an example of the gift economy. And secondly, she wanted it to be a women's space. And if there is no male energy that is the boss, things change.
And this offers a safe place with the highest intentions to do good. And I'm very thankful that Genevieve has provided a place like this.
44 groups and 1,000 people came through Stonehaven last year. And what takes place for me, or what I feel, is each group is trying to change the world, politically, socially, spiritually. So each group is praying or working hard here on the land. Each group is different, and they're all trying to do something to change the world for the better. So it's pretty phenomenal to have a place like this where people come each weekend trying to make a better world.
In a way, this Stonehaven Ranch is a place that gives a vision of a different world to people who come here. They are nurtured and they are in contact with Mother Earth and in a very beautiful environment